This is my second time recording this podcast because my computer crashed and my recording didn't save. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where I teach you how to heal your skin, your gut, and strengthen your mindset. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about habits. I'm actually really excited to talk about this because it's something that all of us struggle with when it comes to bad habits. And then we also have really good habits that help support our healing, but it's the bad habits that we actually want to improve. So before we dive into today's episode, I want to do a quick little life update because we're entering the Christmas holidays and I'm so excited. So the past couple months has been really busy for me because I've been seeing a lot of one-on-one clients inside my one-on-one coaching, but also in my gut, brain, skin restoration club. And so next week, I'm actually going to be going on holiday. I'll be away from work completely for 2 weeks, starting on December the 20th. I'm actually going to be spending Christmas in Spain, which I'm so excited. I love Christmas because it's such a festive time of the year. Growing up, my family, we never really celebrated Christmas that much. We would do dinners and maybe spend Christmas Day together, but it hasn't ever been a really big thing. And it's interesting now that I'm living in Colombia is that it doesn't really feel like Christmas at all, even though Colombians are very big on Christmas. But because the weather here is sunny and hot all year long, and I'm so used to it being cold and snowy because back where I'm from in Vancouver, BC, it's like freezing at this time of the year. And the whole reason why I left Vancouver is because I thrive in hot weather and I just love the sun. But the difference here is that in December, it's hot. It doesn't really feel like Christmas, but it's fine. I'm heading to Spain for 2 weeks. Usually Spain is also very cold this time of the year, but I'm going to the islands. So the islands are a lot warmer, which I'm super excited because your girl cannot stand the cold and I prefer to be in hot weather. So that's basically what I'm up to. Over the Christmas holidays, I'll be completely off of social media, or I'll try my best to. And then we're going to enter the new year into 2025. For those of you who have been listening to my podcast and you've been wanting to work with me, I only have a couple spots left to book a session. I'm taking calls up until December the 20th. So if you're someone that has been really struggling and you're looking for support, I do recommend locking in your appointment before the holidays because we're raising our prices for my one-on-one packages and the Gut Brain Skin Restoration Club, which is my beautiful membership. If you want to lock in the 2024 prices, then I highly recommend going to the show notes and checking out if the membership is for you and joining before the year ends. I will be raising our prices on January 1st, 2025. But right now, if you join us, it's $49 a month for the group membership. VIP is $149 a month. I just opened up 2 more spots for VIP membership. I've been sold out since October. I'm opening up 2 more spots for January start. If you want to get in on the 2024 prices and lock in the VIP membership, then check out the show notes and you can join that way. Okay, let's get into today's episode all about how to break an unhealthy habit. Habits are something that's so important when it comes to your eczema, gut healing, inflammation healing. When you have good habits, that is when you achieve good outcomes. But of course, as humans, we have bad habits that we struggle with breaking because we're so used to the same routines and we're so used to these habits. So in this episode, I want to talk about 3 common unhealthy habits most of you might be experiencing. I actually pulled these habits from my clients and my coaching calls because I'm noticing these habits come up with my clients. I also want to talk about why focusing on good habits is so essential for healing and why your habits that you're implementing today, the good ones, is what is going to determine your outcome. A lot of the times, as an eczema warrior, as someone who has been dealing with chronic illness, you desperately want to achieve the outcome. However, what's more important and actually helps you achieve the outcome is to stop focusing on the outcome and start focusing on your habits. I talked a lot about this actually on my social media, on stories, and different reels, but focusing on the outcome isn't going to get you the outcome faster. It's what you do every single day, your good habits and your mindset that helps you get to that goal. This is what the book Atomic Habits talks about. written by James Clear. He talks about why you shouldn't focus on the outcome and you should focus on the habits. Because the more that you focus on the outcome, you start to lose yourself in the process and you start to wonder if you're ever going to get there. Whereas if you focus on the day-to-day things that you're doing and you feel good about the things that you're doing, the good habits, then of course it's going to give you the result. So that's something I want you to remember. If you're someone that feels like you're controlling the outcome and you're not focusing on actually what is working and your good habits, then this episode might help you with changing some of your beliefs and shifting your focus when it comes to your healing. Besides focusing on good habits and not focusing on the outcome, we also want to break some of the bad habits that us as humans tend to have. Let's just talk about what exactly a habit is. So a habit is basically an automatic action or behavior that you've repeated over time that has become something that you just implement without needing to decide or without needing to think too deeply into it. These habits are basically very easy for you to perform because you don't have to think about it. There's no active decision making. Think about when you wake up in the morning and you brush your teeth. You don't have to think about it. You just know every morning you brush your teeth. It's in your subconscious and it's a habit. With every bad habit, there's always a trigger or cue. There's a routine and there's a reward. There's always a reason why you have this bad habit. And once you are aware of all these things, aware of the trigger, the routine, and the reward, then you understand why this habit makes no sense and why you should start breaking that habit. So the 3 habits that are very common is number 1, scrolling at night and sleeping late as a result. We know that this is so detrimental to your long-term health. It actually slows down your eczema healing, your gut healing. If you're not sleeping early before 11 o'clock, you're not healing, period. Okay, I just want to make that very, very clear. It doesn't matter how healthy your diet is. It doesn't matter how many supplements you take. If you don't sleep early, you're going to have troubles healing. Oftentimes, when we think about why we scroll at night, the cue or the trigger is because we're bored. We're bored at night. It feels like that's the time that we have for ourselves, right? We feel like that's the time for us to unwind. Maybe you had such a busy day at work or at school that the nighttime is the only time for you to start scrolling. That is the trigger when it comes to why you have this bad habit. Now, it becomes a habit because you routinely and you automatically start doing it every night, and you have the sense that it gives you this reward of instant gratification. Ooh, I scroll. I feel better because I can look on social media and see what people are up to, right? You feel entertained because you're watching all these like reels and TikTok videos. You feel excited when you have this bad habit. But what you don't realize is this bad habit actually leads to flares. It actually leads to inflammation because over time, you're not sleeping early, you're sleeping late, you're sleeping late, you're sleeping late. You're actually experiencing stress when you are scrolling and you're not getting a good night's rest. Even if you sleep 8 hours, it's the fact that you're sleeping late and all the other reasons why the blue light is bad for your health. You don't realize that that actually is impacting your skin and impacting your mental health because you think that the reward is that you just feel better scrolling at night. Make that habit difficult to access by leaving your phone in a different room when you go to bed, putting your phone in airplane mode, turning it off. If that's not enough for you, give it to someone, give it to your partner, give it to your mom and be like, I'm trying to work on a habit right now to not use my phone. Don't give me my phone until the next morning. So there's always a way to break a bad habit. It's just having the right tools and knowing that you can do things one day at a time, slow progress. I have a client who has this problem with scrolling at night every single night. So I told her, you know what? Why don't we make it easier by, let's say, instead of getting you to completely cold turkey scrolling on your phone on Mondays. Mondays, no phones, sleep before 11 or as early as you can. And that's it. 1 day out of 7 days, you can definitely do it. Make the habit easy. If it's easy, you can be consistent. If you can be consistent, that's how you get results. So that is the first bad habit that can affect your healing. The second bad habit is skipping breakfast in the morning. So the common cue and trigger for this is that you feel like you're too rushed in the morning, you have no time, you're not hungry, or you have this belief that if you skip breakfast, that means you'll lose weight, which is further from the truth. That's not true. Skipping meal can actually affect your metabolism and cause you to gain weight. Not to forget, when you skip meals, you miss nutrients and energy and protein and fats and fiber. And you need those nutrients in order to build muscle, in order to lose weight, in order to feel good in your body. So your cue is actually not even factual, right? It doesn't even make sense. Like you think that you have no time, that you're not hungry. These are all the things that you've made up in your mind, and you've made this into a routine of believing that's the case for you, so you'll never make breakfast. And the reward for you is that you think that you save so much time that you don't have to worry about preparing a meal, and that you think you're losing weight. But when you actually change that bad habit into having breakfast in the morning, you're gonna be like, what the fuck? I wish I did this earlier because I feel energized. I'm not drinking coffee first thing in the morning and hurting my stomach. I actually feel better throughout the day without having carb crashes or cravings throughout the day. So you think the reward is that it's a hassle preparing a meal, but we can actually change that into an easy, good habit, which we'll talk about. But I just want to say skipping breakfast is perceived that it's good, but skipping breakfast is actually not something that we want to do, especially when you guys are listening right now as people with eczema, with gut issues, with ongoing fatigue. You need a wholesome meal in the morning. We can't skip breakfast and just drink coffee. Okay, the third bad habit, I actually love this one. It's probably the most difficult habit to break because our brains are wired to focus on problems and focus on what's not working and to spiral. Number 3 is overthinking about future scenarios. I know this one's hard, especially when you're in a flare. All you think about is your skin. All you wonder about is if you're going to heal. All you wonder about what's going to happen. You're literally in panic mode and your body is running away from the tiger and you are in constant fight or flight, constantly. When we overthink, it's because we don't know the future. We have anxiety about what's going to happen. We don't know if the skin's going to heal. We feel worried that nothing that we're doing is working. So it's normal to have these overthinking thoughts. However, I always say the amount of energy that you put towards overthinking and worrying about a future event that might not even happen, why don't you put that same amount of energy to help get yourself out of that cycle? Because over worrying about what's happening at this very moment, what might not even happen later on, isn't going to change anything. The only thing that's going to change is more stress on the body, more inflammation, more cortisol, more flares, more gut issues. So it makes no sense to overthink about something that you have no control over. And so rather than letting yourself spiral, let's figure out a way to stop the overthinking cycle because it's only going to make the situation worse, not better. I can go on and on about this. Anyway, so the cue for overthinking is because we feel uncertain, we feel anxiety, we worry about the future. Your mind automatically thinks the worst case scenario. This is called catastrophizing. You're focusing on the worst case scenarios and all the what if situations. The interesting thing about overthinking is actually an illusion of control. You feel like when you overthink, you have control of the situation. You feel that the more that you think about it, the more that you're figuring out all the possible solutions and what to do. You think this is actually your sense of need to control things that you cannot control. And when you're going through a flare, it could be any chronic illness flare, you feel so out of control because you can't control how your flare is going to turn out. You don't know how long it's going to take to heal. You don't know how this flare is going to last, but because you have this need to control and because you have no control of the flare, it causes a lot of stress on your body. Wanting to control the healing isn't going to heal you faster. In fact, it's actually going to make you go backwards because control equals stress and stress equals more inflammation. The need for control actually goes back to the time where you first felt the need to control. It didn't actually start from you having eczema and having problems. Going through flares is actually resurfacing the feelings of control. But the need to control actually started a long time ago, maybe when you were younger. Maybe you grew up in a very unstable environment and you felt always out of control. And so you grew up feeling like you need to control things because you were never able to when you were younger. You see how there's a link here between your current reality, what you're experiencing, and how you're feeling, to an experience when you were younger. There's always a link between why you act the way that you do, why you have certain habits, and we have to look deeper into it and figure out what is causing me to do these things and how can I start changing my mindset and changing these behaviors, because if you don't, then that's not going to be helpful for your healing. A study published by the European Journal of Social Psychology, in this study, they found that it takes about 66 days, so roughly about 2 months, for a new behavior to become automatic. Shifting a bad behavior to good behavior or good behavior to bad behavior, it takes about 2 months. So if you have any bad habits like overthinking, like skipping breakfast and scrolling at night that took time for you to develop this habit, it's gonna take you 2 months in order to reverse it. What can you do to break a bad habit? Number one is to acknowledge that you have this habit. Listen to this podcast episode again from the beginning and see if any of these habits relate to you. Maybe journal about some of the habits that you notice that you have. Then when you acknowledge, okay, you know what? I actually do overthink a lot, I tend to control things, and I have a lot of anxiety about the future. Let's try to replace this habit and make it a healthier habit. If you're noticing you're overthinking a lot, okay, can we use those times when you're finding yourself overthinking a lot and do something completely different? If you catch a thought, okay, I'm gonna not think about that. Literally tell yourself it's not helpful. Let me go journal about it. Let me go write something positive. Let me go practice gratitude. Maybe I'll go for a walk to release some of these thoughts. Do something rather than sitting there over worrying, because then you're gonna get in that cycle. If you have a bad habit of skipping breakfast in the morning, okay, maybe we can start your day and eat something very simple and easy. It doesn't have to be a whole crazy breakfast. Maybe just having banana in the morning. Maybe it's just having a piece of toast. Breaking a habit isn't about doing the extreme right away. It's about taking small, actionable steps and making gradual progress. That is how you stay consistent with a habit, is when you make it easy for yourself. This is something that James Clear talks about in his book. Make the habit easy, make it simple, and that's how it's going to be easier for you to follow it. And every time you implement a good habit and you're taking the daily actions, remind yourself what that does for your body, what kind of actual reward that you get. Better skin healing, better energy levels. You're feeling more full throughout the day without having all these intense sugar cravings, because now you're adding wholesome breakfast in the morning, right? Always attach a good habit to a good reward, and that's going to make you more inclined to do the thing. Using the gym as an example, I used to hate going to the gym because in my mind, I thought it had to be this whole thing. It's a 3-hour process and it just like stressed me out. But the amount of time that I stressed about how my gym day is going to look like, I could have spent that time already at the gym. I started off small, in the past, I would just do a couple workouts and that was it. I would just do cardio and that was it. It's still progress because I'm showing up to the gym, but I'm not making it hard for myself thinking that I have to do this crazy exercise routine. Now that I've done that consistently, I enjoy going to the gym now. It's become part of my routine. It's a good habit because I feel so much better after going to the gym. And that's what we want when it comes to building habits. You want it to be easy, and then it becomes an actual routine, and then you reap the benefits afterwards. So if there's any takeaway for today's episode, for today's video, is identify your bad habits. Ask yourself if it's actually helping you. If it's not, can we find a way to replace these bad habits with good ones? And it doesn't have to be a whole thing. It can be a small action that you do differently every day. It's a little bit of progress makes a big difference. Focus on your actions and your habits every day. Don't focus on the outcome. Make good habits easy for you so that it's not this whole thing where it overwhelms you. And make bad habits difficult for you. I hope this episode helped you. I hope this applies not just with healing and eczema healing, but just your life in general. When you have good habits, you're going to be successful. You're going to have good relationships. You're going to have a good business. Like, it applies to all areas of your life, right? It's not just with your health. Keep that in mind. Love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.